I'm 22, and last month I graduated from college. It was supposed to be the best day of my life. My whole family came, my dad, my 2 little brothers, my mom. She even flew in a week early just to help me get ready. I was nervous, excited, emotional, all of it. I kept saying, this is it. This is the moment everything changes. And I was right, but not for the reasons I thought. Graduation day started out fine. Sunny weather, my name in the program, cap and gown hanging neatly by the closet. I'd double-checked everything the night before, down to the bobby pins in my hair. My family got there early and we took pictures outside the auditorium. My mom had this giant bouquet of roses. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe and said how proud she was. So far, so normal. Or at least it seemed that way. About an hour before the ceremony started, I was in the lobby chatting with friends when I saw a woman standing by the entrance. She looked nervous, like she wasn't sure if she should be there. With her were 2 teenagers and a little boy, maybe 7 or 8. Something about them felt familiar. But I couldn't place it. Then she saw me. Our eyes locked. And for a split second, something in her expression changed, recognition, almost. But it didn't make any sense. I didn't know her. I went back to my seat, told myself I was just being weird. I mean, it was a public event. People wander in all the time. I figured maybe she was a friend of someone else graduating. But she wasn't. And the worst part? She didn't come alone. That was just the first glimpse of something I never could have predicted. By the end of the ceremony, I'd learned things about my mother, my own mother, that would unravel my entire understanding of who she really is. After the ceremony, everyone flooded out into the courtyard to take pictures. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing, congrats texts, missed calls, Instagram tags. I was hugging classmates, meeting their families, smiling so much my face hurt. My dad and little brothers were waiting by the photo booth. My mom was off to the side, on her phone, pacing. I thought she was just overwhelmed. She can get that way in crowds sometimes. Then I saw the woman again. She was standing just a few feet away, holding her youngest son's hand, watching me. Still. Just watching. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't waving. Her eyes were locked on me, and it was the kind of stare that makes your stomach drop. I nudged my dad and asked if he knew her. He barely glanced over and said no, probably just someone looking for shade. But then he looked again, and froze. His smile dropped. That's when I noticed the tension in his body. His hand went stiff on my shoulder. I turned to ask what was wrong, but he didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the woman, who was now walking straight toward us. My mom still hadn't come back from her call. She stopped right in front of us, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, "Hi. I'm sorry for coming uninvited, but I think we need to talk." The boy tugged her hand. The teen stood awkwardly behind her. I looked at my dad, waiting for him to say something, anything. But he was pale, completely silent. And then she said it. "My name's Monica. And your mom has been a part of our lives for over a decade." My first thought was that this was some kind of mistake. Like she had the wrong person. Wrong family. But then she pulled something out of her bag, a stack of printed photos. And in every single one, there was my mother. Smiling. Holding the little boy. Standing beside Monica. My mom. With a whole other family. My brain couldn't catch up. I kept blinking, like maybe if I stared long enough the photos would change. But no, they were real. My mom was in them. Her same smile, her same haircut. In some, she was holding the boy on her hip. In others, she was standing beside Monica like they were partners? Friends? I didn't know what I was looking at. Monica wasn't emotional. She wasn't angry or hysterical. She was calm, almost tired, like someone who had been waiting a long time for something that never came. She told me she didn't come to ruin anything. She came because she thought I deserved to know. Meanwhile, my dad hadn't moved. My little brothers were off playing with balloons, totally unaware. I could feel my face flush hot, like I was standing under a heat lamp. I asked her, "What do you mean my mom has been part of your lives?" And that's when she said it. "They've been together. Since before you were even in high school." I couldn't breathe. I looked around like maybe someone would jump out and yell, "Gotcha," like this was some twisted prank. But no one did. And just then, I saw my mom walking back toward us from the parking lot, still on her phone. She saw Monica. She stopped in her tracks. And then she turned and started walking the other way. That's when it hit me, she wasn't shocked. She wasn't confused. She was running. I didn't even think, I just ran after her. I kicked off my heels, still in my gown, dodging through people shouting congratulations and snapping selfies. I finally caught up to her near the parking lot entrance. She was halfway to her car, fumbling with the keys like her hands didn't work properly. I grabbed her wrist. She didn't say a word. Just looked at me, eyes wide, like a deer caught in headlights. I asked her one question, is it true? She didn't answer. She didn't have to. The silence was enough. I stood there, heart pounding, while she just stared at me. And then she whispered, I was going to tell you. I just didn't know how. That was it. That was all she gave me. No denial. No explanation. Just a soft, broken sentence like it was supposed to fix the crater opening up inside my chest. She said she never planned for this to happen. That what she had with Monica started years ago, when my parents were having problems. That it was emotional at first. Then it became something else. She told me she kept both families separate because she didn't want to hurt anyone. I asked her how she thought this wouldn't hurt me. Hurt all of us. And then she said something that made me want to scream. I just wanted to protect you. Like I was some fragile doll who couldn't handle the truth. Like she wasn't standing in front of me with a secret life exploding behind her. I turned around and walked away. Because if I stayed, I was going to say something I'd never be able to take back. When I got back to the courtyard, Monica and the kids were gone. My dad was sitting on a bench alone, elbows on his knees, staring at the ground like the world had ended. I sat down next to him, still holding the photos. Neither of us said anything for a while. Then I asked him if he knew. He didn't answer right away. But when he finally spoke, his voice was low, like it hurt just to form the words. I found out 3 years ago. My head snapped toward him. 3 years. 3 years of family dinners, Christmas mornings, summer barbecues. 3 years of watching my mom kiss him goodnight and tell us she loved us. He said he confronted her back then. That she swore it was over. That she begged him not to tell me. She said it would destroy everything. So he stayed silent, for me, for the boys, for the image of a normal family. But it never stopped. He knew she still saw Monica. He just didn't know how deep it went. He didn't know about the kids. I felt sick. My mom had 2 lives, 2 families. One where she tucked me in at night, and another where she read bedtime stories to a whole other child. And she managed it all behind a curtain of smiles and PTA meetings and Instagram posts about being grateful for family. I couldn't look at my dad anymore. He looked so small, like the weight of it all had finally crushed him. I didn't even have the energy to be angry at him. I was just numb. I'd never felt so disconnected from my own life, like I was watching a stranger's story from the outside. And then my little brother came running up, holding my graduation cap. Mom said to meet her at the car. He was beaming. He didn't know a thing. I didn't go to the car. I couldn't. I told my dad I needed a minute alone and just walked. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't be around them anymore. I ended up at this small fountain near the admin building, one we used to hang out around during freshman orientation. It was quiet, safe, but my hands were still shaking. I stared down at the photos. There were more than I'd realized: birthday parties, school events, even a shot of my mom in a hospital room, holding the youngest boy. She looked so natural. Like she belonged there. Like that was her real life, and we were just some side project she kept going. My phone buzzed, 10 missed calls from her. Texts asking where I was, if I was okay, if I'd please come back and talk. I didn't answer any of them. But then Monica texted me too. She apologized. Said she didn't mean for it to come out this way. That she thought my mom had told me long ago. According to her, my mom had been promising to come clean for years. Every time Monica brought it up, my mom would say soon. That she just needed more time. More time for what? To lie more convincingly? I asked her why she came today, why now? And she said something that stopped me cold. My son is starting to ask questions. He wants to know why he can't tell anyone who his other mom is. Other mom. It wasn't just some affair. It wasn't a fling. My mother had another entire life. And that's when it hit me. There's a whole set of siblings out there, half-siblings, who have lived their entire lives in my mother's shadow. And I never even knew they existed. Later that night, I finally went back to my apartment. My gown was wrinkled, my cap stained from where I'd gripped it too tightly. I dropped everything on the floor and just sat there. I didn't turn on the lights. I didn't take my shoes off. I just sat in the dark trying to understand what my life had turned into in the span of a few hours. Then the doorbell rang. I knew who it was. I didn't want to answer, but I didn't want her showing up again with the neighbors watching. So I opened it. She stood there like she'd aged 10 years in a day. No makeup, puffy eyes, still wearing the same outfit from earlier, only now she looked like it was dragging her down. She didn't try to come inside. She just stood there and asked me if I hated her. And for the first time in my life, I didn't know how to respond to my own mother. She started crying. Not the loud kind. The quiet, miserable kind that makes you feel uncomfortable just being near it. She told me she never meant for things to go this far. That she loved all of us. That none of this was supposed to be permanent. She kept saying that it wasn't supposed to be permanent. But how does a second family happen by accident? I asked her why she stayed. Why she kept up the lie. And her answer made my skin crawl. She said she didn't want to lose either life. She wanted both. It wasn't about love or loyalty. It was about her needs, her fantasy of being everything to everyone. And for years, she'd gotten away with it. Until Monica got tired of being hidden. Until the little boy started asking too many questions. Until the house of cards finally fell. She looked at me and said, "I thought I was protecting you." I told her, "No, you were protecting yourself." Then I shut the door in her face. The next morning, I woke up to over 30 unread messages. From family. From classmates. Even from Monica. Apparently, word had spread. Someone must have overheard at the graduation. Or maybe Monica's appearance was just too strange to go unnoticed. My cousin texted me, "What the hell is going on? Did your mom really have another family?" That's when I realized something. This wasn't going to stay private. It wasn't just my world unraveling anymore. Everyone was about to find out who my mother really was. The Sunday brunch matriarch. The birthday cake baker. The woman who always showed up with a perfect smile and perfectly wrapped gifts. The woman who'd been lying to everyone. I called my dad. He answered on the first ring. I told him we needed to talk, me, him, and the boys. He agreed. He said he'd been thinking the same thing. So that afternoon, we sat them down in the living room. My brothers are 14 and 11, still in that space between boyhood and teenage rebellion. I didn't want to be the one to rip their world apart, but I also knew they needed to hear it from us, not from whispers at school or from some confused Facebook post. So my dad told them. He didn't go into all the details, just enough to make it clear. Mom had been living a double life. She had another family. Another home. Other kids. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It had been going on for years. My brothers were silent at first. My youngest kept glancing toward the door like she might walk in and say it was all a big misunderstanding. But she didn't. The older one, he broke. Tears he tried to hide. Anger he couldn't. He asked the same thing I did, why? And none of us had an answer. That night, after the boys went to bed, I sat outside with my dad on the porch. We didn't talk much, just sipped tea and listened to the crickets. But eventually, he said something that's stuck with me since. She didn't just lie to you. She lied to the version of you that believed everything was okay. It hit me harder than I expected. Because that version of me, the one who believed in family game nights, shared stories over dinner, and handwritten birthday cards, she's gone now. And I don't know how to get her back. The next few days were a blur. Mom didn't come home. She sent one long message in the family group chat that no one responded to. It was full of empty explanations, things like, "You'll never understand how torn I felt," and "This wasn't about love, it was about survival." It read like she was trying to rewrite the story into something noble. But we knew better. Monica texted me again, too. She apologized for showing up the way she did, but said she had no regrets. Said she was tired of her children living in a lie. That they deserved to know who their mom really was. Their mom. I still couldn't wrap my head around it. And then, out of nowhere, Monica sent one final message. She told me that my mom had promised she was going to leave us. Not years ago, last month. Apparently, my mom had planned to leave right after graduation. She was going to say goodbye, pack up, and move in with Monica permanently. But she got cold feet. Said she couldn't bear to hurt us, so she stalled. But Monica had had enough. That's why she showed up. She wasn't just blowing things up, she was forcing the truth out. And honestly, I don't blame her. It's been almost 3 weeks since graduation. I still haven't seen my mom. She tried calling twice, but I let them ring out. She sent another message, begging me to meet, said she'd explain everything in person. But I don't want explanations anymore. I want peace. I want space. And I want to rebuild without the wreckage she left behind constantly crashing back through the door. My dad's been quiet but present. He's taking the boys to therapy. We've been eating dinner together every night. Not because everything's fine, but because we're trying. And sometimes, that's enough. Last weekend, I got a message from one of Monica's older kids, the teenager. It was just one line. "I guess we're sisters." I didn't know what to say back. I still don't. But I haven't deleted it either. It sits in my inbox like a thread I might tug on one day when I'm ready. Right now, I'm figuring out what my life looks like without the illusion. Without the version of my mom I thought I had. It hurts. There are days when I still wake up expecting a text from her, like she might show up with bagels and coffee, pretending nothing ever happened. But then I remember that woman in the photos, the one who smiled like she belonged somewhere else, and I realize, I never really knew her. What I knew was the version she wanted me to see. The one that could balance 2 homes and never break a sweat. The one who said love meant sacrifice, while sacrificing all of us to protect her secrets. And now? Now I'm free of that story. I don't know if we'll ever speak again. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But I do know this, I'm not hiding for her anymore. This is my life, and I'll live it in the truth, no matter how messy it is. Because the truth? It may hurt, but it never lies.